Lewis reporting for cadred.org. I'm here with a face that might be so familiar to you Europeans, but it should be. It's mOOnGLaDe, the man from down under. First of all then, let's talk about WCS qualifiers, because I've been doing that with everyone I've interviewed at recent events and talking about how they did respectively. Obviously you won it. Was that the expected result for you?
Well, we have a number of top players in Australia, and I guess people were kind of expecting I'd do well, but they weren't sure that I would win it. So it was kind of nice to like reclaim the throne of Australia, and yeah, win it.
Well, I mean, you had second, I think it was at the Australian Nationals prior to that. Did you feel like you'd lost maybe a little bit of like momentum? Did you feel like maybe you weren't the best in Oz, or do you think it was a temporary aberration?
Well, I already knew that I was into the next day for Oceanic, so I was very relaxed during those finals. Even though it was the finals, there was no pressure to like qualify for something, and I always thought that the day after is the real day. It's the day I have to win, because I really want to go to Shanghai. So even though I lost, I wasn't really affected by it at all, and I was just really focused for the next day. And in that next day, I got revenge on Pig straight up 2-0, and pretty much 2-0'd everyone to the finals, and really good form, and I was really happy with that I performed on the day that really counted.
Right, you're in a unique position, I think, and I'm going to tell you why, because like when you're, I know, good, or you're in the top 10 or something, that's cool, that's nice, people give you respect. When you're kind of the best on a continent, is that like extra pressure? I mean, do you ever feel like, Jesus, you know, there's a lot of people watching what I'm doing, and you know, a lot of kind of expectations to live up to?
Yeah, definitely you have a lot more pressure, especially for tournaments inside your regions. You always want to be the top dog, and if you lose, a lot of people are going to start talking and whatnot. And when I go over to IEM and stuff like this, I always really want to do well. I guess there's a lot of, not too much expectations for like Southeast Asian players. People don't really hear about us much, but I've always done rather well at these events, and I want to continue to do so. So I kind of give myself that kind of pressure.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your past form at IEM events. I think you've always acquitted yourself very well when you have made these inroads into European territory, which is nice. Has that been a kind of easy sell to like sponsors and stuff to get you out here? Because obviously it's a lot of money to get you out to these events. So I mean, is that something that you've kind of, you know, needed to ensure you can come back?
Absolutely. Doing well at these events is pretty essential. If I got knocked out and didn't win a game, I wouldn't be here today, sort of thing. It's definitely really helped me in my career doing well at these events, and it's still hard to get good sponsorship in Australia. Obviously, the esports scene's a lot smaller and a lot less money, but I've found a team, Gamecom NV, and they support me and they fly me anywhere, so I'm very happy.
Well, when you've been here before, like you say, you have done well, you've always acquitted yourself. I consider it punching above your weight, I guess, but maybe not considering recent form. But does that kind of give you extra pressure? Because like, it's always nice to be the underdog, because then no one expects anything. Not even your fellow competitors. They underrate you. You probably get a few easy games because of it. Yeah. Now that you've done so well kind of consistently in these events, I guess no one takes you lightly anymore.
Well, you'd be surprised, because I kind of disappeared for such a long time after these events that people kind of forget what I've done. And I come into this, I kind of feel like the underdog again. And when there's always like prediction threads and whatnot, I'm usually not the guy that's chosen to win, unless like it's an Australian guy commenting or something. But yeah, I still feel that I'm the underdog at these events, and it has been a while since my last IEM. So that's how I think about it anyway.
Well, you're talking about predictions. I guess that's a good juncture to ask you about your own predictions of this event. Let's talk about predictions for you first. You are the subject of this interview after all. Where do you want to finish, and where do you think you'll finish?
I think I could win my group, or at least get second if I play well. Overall, I guess it really depends who I get next. There's so many Koreans in this one, more than any other, I'm pretty sure, and it's going to make it incredibly hard. But I'm really just aiming to get out of the groups to begin with.
But if you were to win the group, I mean, and everything was to fall in its place, I mean, like, because I know what it's like when you're a competitor. You set yourself this minimum target. So, I mean, is that it for you? Like, you get out the groups, is it punch in the air, jubilant?
It's definitely the goal I have for tomorrow. After that, it's kind of going to be who am I up against, and I'll take it from there. I really want to do well, and I'd love to get top 4 again. So I will aim for that, but I'll take it one step at a time.
That's good. And who do you think is going to win it? You've already talked about the Koreans. I guess when it comes to incursions in Europe, you can't really avoid them. But who do you think is going to be the top 3 or so?
I think MC will definitely be up there. He's been looking really strong for a long time. I'm hoping Sortov will do well. He seems to be a really good Zerg, and he's improved a lot. So
yeah, he's been in great form lately. Obviously, Swedish WCS as well, played great. I saw him myself at Summer Assembly. I thought he looked really good. So,
and I reckon MVP for 3rd place.
I like it. It's good. Controversial kind of picks, but playing it safe with MC. I think everyone always says him whenever I ask. It's always MC for everything. So
yeah.
Okay, so let's move away from StarCraft 2. Talk a bit about Australia and gaming in Australia. Now, we've seen in kind of other genres of game, not just RTS, FPS as well, being isolated can be problematic. Infrastructure's an issue with internet, and the fact you've got 2 time zones at opposite ends of the country. Can you shed some light on the specific problems of being an esports competitor in Australia? What are the obstructions?
Well, being very isolated is very true, and even just latency issues can be a big problem for us. We have to play on our server or the Korean server or a North American server, but it's a lot harder to practice in Australia, and it's a smaller player base, so there's obviously going to be less sponsors and less money. And it's really difficult to find a way to get out here. So all these things kind of make it very difficult, and we do have like a number of really committed people that really want to do well and get out to these events, which was great. And I think the scene is growing very slowly, but it's looking promising at the moment.
Well, you talked about problems obtaining sponsors as well, and you've done all right for yourself, but let's be honest, you are the best. It kind of makes sense. What kind of issues do players below you find when it comes to sponsors? I mean, why aren't people interested in sponsoring esports?
Well, I guess it's just such an investment to send people to these events because they're so far away from Australia. Australia is really like on its own, like in the middle of nowhere sort of thing. So it's so expensive to get out here, and that probably above all else is the biggest problem. What
I want to kind of finish on, we're going to kind of do a little wrap up just on kind of, the future, what's going on with you, where you're going to be at, and what are your plans? Because obviously, you don't, as you say, you don't get to Europe often. I guess I'm kind of insinuating, are you ever thinking about packing up and going somewhere else? I mean, like, moving out to Korea or moving to a gaming house in Europe, ever cross your mind?
It has, absolutely. I got a taste of Korea a year ago. I got to stay there for a few months and play in JSL, and it's a very different life, but it's not bad. I would consider it again, and it's definitely one of my options with my new team. So.
I like the way you said that. Sorry, you went, it's a very different life, and it's not bad, but not good. So
yeah, it's just such a different culture and lifestyle that you really have to be ready for it as a foreigner. And I think a lot of players go over there and they kind of realize this, and they don't enjoy it as much as they hoped they would. But I've experienced it, and I know what's in store for me. So if I choose to go over there again, I think I'd be ready, and I think I'd prosper and do rather well if I put my head down. But,
so that would be the option, would it? You'd rather go to Korea than, say, hook up with one of these gaming houses in Europe?
Well, I guess it would be a lot harder to find the option to go to Europe to one of these gaming houses, but it would be nice. I wouldn't take it off the list. But Korea is probably the cheapest option for me, and it's probably the most skillful option, so I'd be looking at that first.
And after IEM, and I don't want to get too far ahead because I know you want to stay in the zone and stay focused, but where are you going to be next? Are we going to see another long hiatus and hibernation from you, or have you got something around the corner?
Got something around the corner. My whole team is going to be going to MLG Dallas, so yeah, we're a bit of an Australian presence there, and right after that I have WCS Shanghai, the grand finals. So yeah, I got a bit of traveling left this year.
Well, I wish you all the best. I might see you out at MLG Dallas. It'd be great if we do that. I'm not so sure about Shanghai. Don't know if I can get into China with some of the things I say on my Twitter. So, but great to talk to you. And to all the people out there at Carrot.org, there's the man, the myth, mOOnGLaDe. Do follow his progress in the tournament, and we're going to have more coverage and more interviews just like this one from here at IEM Cologne Gamescom 2012.